We tell ourselves stories that it's someone else's fault, that we didn't get help, that life was unfair. And maybe it was, but the truth is, blame builds nothing. Work does. This audiobook is not here to judge you. It's here to wake something up in you, to help you leave the mindset of blame and walk into the mindset of personal power. This is a journey from frustration to focus, from waiting to working, from pointing fingers to lifting yourself. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Blame is a comfortable prison. Blame is a comfortable prison. Blame is warm. It's easy. It lets you sit with your arms crossed, looking at the world and saying, "This is not my fault." And maybe, at some point, that was true. Maybe someone did hurt you. Maybe someone really didn't show up for you. Maybe life came hard and you didn't see it coming. And instead of rising from that moment, you sat in it because it felt safer than trying again. Blame is comforting because it's protective. It builds walls. It says, "I don't want to feel this pain again. I don't want to trust the wrong people again. I don't want to try and fail again." So instead of breaking through, you break inward. But here's the problem with blame. It can't build anything. It just points fingers at what's already broken. You can't move forward while looking backward. You can't build a future while narrating the past. Blame isn't just about anger. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's disappointment, dressed up in tough skin. And sometimes it's fear wearing a mask of pride. We don't want to say, "I don't know what to do," so we say, "They should have done more." Blame is a prison not because it's loud, but because it's subtle. It grows roots under the surface. You'll hear it in your daily speech. "If only my parents had supported me. If that boss didn't fire me, I'd be further in life. If my partner was more encouraging, I'd be more confident. If I grew up rich, I wouldn't be stuck." Every one of those sentences has one thing in common. Power is placed outside of you. And as long as your power lives somewhere else, in another person, in another timeline, in a different past, you stay powerless. This isn't to say those things didn't affect you. Of course they did. Of course pain leaves a mark. But there's a difference between being affected by something and being owned by it. When you blame, you stop building. You freeze in the moment you were hurt. You stop asking, "What now?" and keep repeating, "Why me?" Here's the truth. Blame makes you feel right. But being right doesn't mean you'll be healed. Blame doesn't repair the damage. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't build your dream. It just justifies the reasons why you haven't started yet. So how do you break out of this prison? 1. Awareness. Start by catching yourself. Blame is sneaky. It hides in frustration. It hides in sarcasm. It hides in constant comparison. When you notice yourself blaming someone or something, pause. Ask, what power am I giving away in this moment? If you say, "I can't succeed because my boss doesn't like me," then you're saying your growth depends on someone else's approval. Is that the life you want? 2. Take micro responsibility. You don't have to own everything all at once, just the next step. If your life is hard because of what someone did, what's one small choice you can make today that's completely yours? Even something simple, choosing to wake up earlier, choosing to make that uncomfortable phone call, choosing to write that email, create that resume, clean that space, ask that question. When you make a small move, you reclaim power. You start telling yourself, "I have a say in how this goes." 3. Reframe your story. What happened to you is part of your story, but it's not the whole story. The world isn't waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to participate. Instead of saying, "This broke me," start saying, "This is what I came back from." Your story is powerful, not when it's used as a reason to stop, but when it becomes a reason to rise. 4. Find purpose in the pain. Sometimes the thing we blame becomes the fuel we use. That teacher who embarrassed you, use it to help others believe in themselves. That boss who fired you, let it push you to build your own business. The best way to break the chains of blame is to use the pain, not sit in it. Turn the ashes into bricks. Build something out of what broke you. 5. Build something daily. You can't always change the past, but you can change what today looks like. Today is your most powerful tool. Don't waste it retelling yesterday's failure. Blame keeps you focused on problems. Work puts your focus on progress. You don't have to take giant leaps, just work. Every day, a little more. Choose the hard road now so your future becomes easier. Or keep choosing the easy road now and watch your future stay hard. Final thoughts for this chapter. Blame will give you company, but never victory. It'll give you comfort, but never change. And maybe the hardest part of life isn't what happened to us, but what we do after. Today is the beginning of the after, and you are not alone. You have your hands, you have your voice, you have your breath. And if you're alive, you have the power to begin. Let's keep going. Chapter 2. The enemy within. We often look for the enemy outside, someone to blame, someone to accuse, someone to take responsibility for our lack of growth. But the truth is, the most dangerous enemy is often the one that lives quietly inside of us. The one that doubts, the one that delays, the one that tells us we are not enough. This enemy doesn't yell. It whispers. It tells you to wait until you're ready. It tells you that people like you don't make it. It tells you that no one will care about what you do. And the worst part, it sounds just like you. This inner voice is shaped over years. It picks up comments from parents, teachers, failed relationships, harsh criticism, and painful moments. Then it stores them in your memory like facts. So when you try to rise, this voice pulls out the record. Remember when you failed in school? Remember when that person left you? Remember when they laughed at your dream? And just like that, the enemy within keeps you seated in fear. Not because you can't rise, but because you've believed you shouldn't. Let's call this enemy by name: self-sabotage. It shows up in your actions, or rather your inactions. It's when you procrastinate, not because you're lazy, but because deep down you're afraid you'll fail, or worse, succeed and not know what to do next. It's when you say yes to things you don't want to do because you're afraid of being disliked. It's when you play small in conversations, hold back your ideas, or act like you're okay with less, just to avoid the spotlight. Self-sabotage is sneaky. It disguises itself as humility, as being realistic, as being safe. But what it really is? Fear with good PR. So how do we confront the enemy within? 1. Name it. The first step is to be honest, brutally honest. What are the thoughts that come up when you're about to start? What are the fears that replay when you think about doing more? Write them down. When you name the enemy, you take away its power. You stop it from hiding in the shadows. 2. Interrupt the pattern. Every time the enemy within speaks, interrupt it. Speak back. When it says, "You're not ready," say, "I'm ready enough to begin." When it says, "People will judge you," say, "Some might, but some will be helped." When it says, "You don't know how," say, "I'll learn by doing." You don't need a perfect response. You just need a new one. 3. Take one scary step. Courage doesn't come before the step. It comes during the step. You become bold by doing bold things, not thinking bold thoughts. So take one action that scares you. Something small. Send the application. Ask the question. Start the project. Share your idea. Every time you do, you prove the enemy within wrong. Every time you do, you strengthen the voice of truth. 4. Rewire the beliefs. The inner enemy feeds off old beliefs. Beliefs like, "I always mess up," "I'm not good with money," "I don't have what it takes." Now ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Usually it's not. Maybe you messed up once, maybe you didn't know better then, but today is different. You're learning, you're growing, you're doing the work. Change the belief. Say, "I've learned from my mistakes. I'm getting better at managing things. I am becoming who I need to be." 5. Build a new identity. You're not a collection of your past errors. You're a reflection of your current actions. Start calling yourself by your new name: builder, learner, leader, doer, healer. When you start believing differently, you start behaving differently. 6. Create an inner ally. If the enemy within is a voice of fear, then build a voice of faith. This voice cheers for you. This voice reminds you what's possible. This voice doesn't ignore the pain. It just refuses to let it win. You can create this voice through affirmations, journaling, meditation, or prayer. It can be soft, it can be simple, but let it be daily. Tell yourself, I am not who I used to be. I deserve to take up space. My work matters. My effort is enough for today. Because what you hear often, you believe. Final thoughts for this chapter. There will always be voices in your head. Some built by fear, some built by experience, some built by pain. But now, you get to choose which voice grows louder. Don't let the enemy within win by default. Fight back with action, with truth, with discipline. And remember, you're not broken, you're becoming. The enemy isn't you, it's just the version of you that forgot your strength. But you're remembering now, and that's the beginning of everything. Chapter 3. Excuses steal time. Excuses are comfortable. They give us something to hold on to when we don't want to face the truth. But here's the thing. Excuses are not just harmless thoughts or passing statements. They're time thieves. They steal minutes, hours, and years from our lives. We all make excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. I'll do it when things settle down. These phrases feel safe. They feel reasonable. But over time, they become a cage, a quiet trap that locks you into a life of regret. Let's be clear. Excuses feel like explanations, but they're really just delays in disguise. The cost of delay. Every time you make an excuse, you trade time for comfort. You delay progress for the sake of ease. You let another day pass without doing what matters most. Time doesn't pause for your excuses. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It moves, fast and without mercy. The real danger of excuses is how invisible their damage can be. You might not see the harm today, but 5 years from now, you'll look back and wonder where the time went. You'll realize the truth. You didn't lack time. You wasted it. Common excuses that steal years. Let's look at some of the most common excuses we use. I'm not ready yet. You may never feel ready. Most people start before they're fully prepared. Readiness is built in the process, not before it. I don't have time. We all get 24 hours. The question is, what are you doing with yours? Often, it's not about lack of time, but lack of clarity or priority. I'm too tired. Yes, rest matters. But sometimes the tiredness is emotional, not physical. It's the weight of avoiding your purpose. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about doing nothing today. These excuses are not unique. We've all used them. The goal is not to feel guilty. The goal is to get honest. Time is the only thing you can't get back. You can recover from mistakes. You can rebuild relationships. You can earn back money. But time? Once it's gone, it's gone. Imagine your life as a bank account with a limited number of days. Every excuse you make is a withdrawal. No refunds, no do-overs. So what's the solution? Replace excuses with action. You don't need to eliminate all excuses overnight, but you can start replacing them with actions, small, meaningful steps. If the excuse is, I don't know where to start, then the action is, I'll spend 10 minutes researching. If the excuse is, I don't have time, then the action is, I'll set aside 30 minutes a day, no matter what. One small step destroys the lie. One small action builds momentum. The mindset shift. What if you started viewing excuses as red flags, warnings that you're avoiding something important? Instead of saying, I can't, ask, why not? Later, ask, why not now? Maybe someday, ask, what if today is the only day I have? This shift in language forces you to face the truth. It pulls you out of hiding and into clarity. Personal responsibility is power. When you stop making excuses, you take back control. You become the one steering your life. This doesn't mean life will be easy. It means you stop giving your power to delay, to fear, to uncertainty. You rise, you move, you grow. Excuses steal time. Ownership creates progress. Excuses versus reasons. Now, let's be fair. There are real reasons for delay sometimes. Health issues, financial constraints, family emergencies. But there's a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason acknowledges reality, while still seeking a path forward. An excuse uses reality as a wall instead of a challenge. You may have valid reasons, but don't let those reasons become a lifelong permission slip to stay stuck. A challenge for you. Think of one area in your life where you've been stuck. Now write down the excuses you've been telling yourself. Then ask, is this helping me or holding me back? Replace that excuse with one small step you can take today. Not next week, not after everything is perfect. Today. Because every excuse you let go of gives you a little more time back. Final thoughts for this chapter. Time is your most valuable resource, and excuses are the silent thieves that rob you of it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest. You may not be able to control everything in your life, but you can control your response. And when you stop blaming time, circumstances, or other people, you start building momentum. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you start making progress. So trade your excuses for action. Trade your delays for discipline. And remember, success doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who begin. Chapter 4. Blame is a broken compass. Blame feels like direction. It gives us someone or something to point at when things go wrong. But the truth is, blame doesn't guide us anywhere worth going. It's a broken compass. It spins in circles, keeping us stuck where we are. When you blame others, you give away your power. You tell yourself that your life is out of your hands, that you're just a victim of your circumstances. And once you start living like a victim, you stop looking for solutions. The comfort of blame. Blame is easy. It takes the pressure off. It allows you to avoid responsibility. It sounds like, if my boss appreciated me more, I'd be successful. If my parents raised me differently, I'd be further ahead. If the system wasn't so unfair, I'd have a better chance. There's truth in all those statements. Life isn't fair. People do fail us. Systems are flawed. But here's the danger. When you make blame your main story, you also make helplessness your identity. You stop asking, what can I do now? You start saying, there's nothing I can do. Blame tells you your hands are tied. But responsibility? It unties the knots. How blame limits your life. Blame does more than just hold you back. It shrinks your world. It makes you feel small, powerless, trapped. When you blame others for your situation, you wait for them to change. You expect them to fix it. You believe that until they act differently, you can't move forward. This puts your progress in someone else's hands. And the truth is, they may never come around. They may never give you the apology, the opportunity, or the fairness you think you deserve. So what then? You can either keep waiting or start walking. Ownership leads to change. Taking ownership doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you're willing to take control of what you can. It's saying, yes, that hurt me, but I'm choosing to heal. Yes, I was overlooked, but I'll find a way to stand out. Yes, the odds are tough, but I'm tougher. Responsibility is not blame. It's strength. It's the ability to move forward even when things aren't fair. It's the mindset that says, my life is mine, no matter what's been done to me. The cycle of blame. Blame creates a cycle of bitterness. It feels justified in the moment, but over time it eats away at your energy. You become so focused on what others did that you forget what you can do. Blame also breeds resentment, and resentment blinds you. You stop seeing opportunities. You stop recognizing your progress. You carry old wounds into new places and wonder why they never feel like a fresh start. Letting go of blame isn't about letting people off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. Stories of responsibility. Think of the people who inspire you, the ones who've overcome huge obstacles. You'll notice a pattern. They stop blaming. The single mother who built a business while raising kids alone. The man who grew up in poverty but chose education and built a new life. The woman who was denied a promotion and used it as fuel to start her own company. They all had reasons to blame, but they chose to build. A better compass. Instead of using blame as your compass, try these questions. What can I do with what I have? What lesson can I learn from this? How can I grow from this pain? These questions don't ignore reality. They just reframe it. They turn you from a passenger into a driver. Blame kills time and energy. Blaming is exhausting. It keeps you mentally stuck in the past. It ties your thoughts to what already happened instead of what could be. When you stop blaming, you gain energy. You see solutions. You take action. Energy wasted on blame is better spent on building. Let go, not for them, for you. Some people will never apologize. Some systems will stay unfair. Some events will always hurt. Let go anyway. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace, because you deserve progress. A challenge for this chapter. Think of one person or situation you've blamed for your lack of progress. Write it down. Then ask, what part of this can I control? What's one step I can take to move forward? You don't have to feel ready. You just have to be willing. Final thoughts for Chapter 4. Blame is a broken compass. It points everywhere but forward. Responsibility is the map that leads to growth. It doesn't guarantee ease, but it guarantees movement. So stop pointing fingers. Start planting seeds. Because your future isn't in their hands, it's in yours. And the moment you stop blaming is the moment you start building. Chapter 5. The mirror of responsibility. There's a moment in every journey when you're forced to look in the mirror. Not to fix your hair, not to rehearse your smile, but to truly face yourself. That mirror, it's responsibility. And it's one of the most powerful tools for transformation. Blaming others might feel good in the short term, but taking ownership of your life, that's where real growth begins. Facing yourself honestly. The first step to real change is facing the truth about your choices. Not all your circumstances are your fault, but many of your patterns are your responsibility. The job you stayed in too long, the relationship you knew was wrong, the habits you kept, even when you saw they were hurting you. Responsibility means asking the hard questions. What role did I play in this? What did I ignore that I should have faced? What can I change now? These questions aren't easy, but they open doors. The power of self-honesty. Being honest with yourself doesn't mean beating yourself up. It means loving yourself enough to grow. It's refusing to stay stuck. It's looking at your reflection and saying, I see where I've gone wrong, and I see who I can become. That kind of honesty is rare, but it's the beginning of wisdom. No one's coming to save you. It's a hard truth, but it's freeing once you accept it. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your friends, not your government. You are the hero you've been waiting for. And the moment you stop waiting for someone else to make things better, you begin to take your life back. This doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you stop expecting others to do the heavy lifting for you. You take the lead, you write the story, you become the answer. The difference between fault and responsibility. Here's something many people confuse. Fault is about the past. Responsibility is about the future. It may not be your fault that you were hurt, left behind, or underprepared, but it is your responsibility to heal, to learn, to move forward. Taking responsibility doesn't ignore the pain. It respects it, then builds from it. Growth begins where excuses end. Excuses are stories we tell to stay where we are. They may feel valid, even logical, but they often serve one purpose: comfort. Responsibility isn't comfortable, but it's empowering. It says, I can try again. I can start from here. I can build something better. Growth begins when excuses end, and every excuse you drop creates room for action. Reclaiming your power. Every time you say, it's not my fault, you hand your power to someone else. But every time you say, this is my responsibility, you take it back. Responsibility is the root of self-respect. It's saying, I matter enough to fix this. I care enough to try again. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Small steps, big shifts. Taking responsibility doesn't mean changing everything overnight. It's about small steps, waking up on time, keeping your word, showing up even when you don't feel like it, learning instead of blaming. Each of those steps sends a message to your mind. I'm in control now, and the more you walk that path, the more confident you become. A story of responsibility. Think of the man who lost his job, blamed the company, and sat at home angry for months. Then think of the same man 6 months later deciding to take a course, learn a new skill, and launch a side business. What changed? Not the situation, not the world. He changed. He looked in the mirror and said, "Enough waiting. It's on me now." Challenge for Chapter 5. Today, stand in front of a mirror. Look yourself in the eye and ask, what area of my life have I been avoiding responsibility in? What story am I ready to stop telling? What action am I willing to take today? Even if it's small, even if it's scary, start there. Final thoughts for Chapter 5. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a bridge. It connects who you are to who you could become. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be honest. The mirror might not always reflect what you want to see, but it always shows you what you need to see. And when you stop turning away from it, you start changing what you see. So look in the mirror, own your story, take the next step. Your future is waiting on you. Chapter 6. The weight of excuses. Excuses are easy to make. They slip into our conversations like background noise. They soften our guilt, shield our pride, and buy us time. But in truth, excuses are the heaviest weight we carry because they keep us from moving forward. We say things like, "I don't have the time. I wasn't born into the right family. They didn't give me a chance. It's just not the right moment." Each excuse seems harmless on its own, but added up they build a wall, a thick, high wall between us and who we're meant to be. And here's the hard truth. As long as you keep making excuses, you'll stay exactly where you are. The comfort trap. Excuses create comfort zones. They're like a warm blanket in a cold room. They make failure more palatable, disappointment more justifiable, and lack of progress seem acceptable. But comfort isn't the same as peace, and settling isn't the same as success. When you keep telling yourself, "I can't," what you're really saying is, "I won't." You've traded the discomfort of growth for the ease of avoidance. The truth is, growth is always uncomfortable. Progress is always inconvenient. But regret? That's even more painful. Excuses versus reasons. Let's be clear. There's a difference between an excuse and a valid reason. A reason is real. It's an obstacle you acknowledge, but plan around. An excuse is an obstacle you hide behind. For example, saying, "I have to work long hours, so I need to plan my workouts carefully," is a reason. Saying, "I work too much, so I can't get healthy," is an excuse. One moves you forward, the other holds you back. Being honest about your limitations is healthy, but letting those limitations define your life, that's how dreams die slowly. When excuses become identity, if you're not careful, your excuses will become part of who you are. You start saying things like, "I've always been this way. I guess it's just not for me. That's just how life is." And without realizing it, you've given your excuses a home in your identity. You've woven them into the story you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible. But here's the truth. You weren't born with excuses. You learned them, which means you can unlearn them. You can choose a different story, one that sounds like, "I used to struggle with that, but I'm working on it. I didn't have support, but I found another way. I've failed before, but I'm not done yet." That's the voice of someone rewriting their future. The stories we tell ourselves. Every excuse is backed by a story. You might say, "People like me don't get ahead. I never had the resources. No one believed in me." But what if you changed the story? What if you said, "I come from a tough place, but that taught me grit. I had little, so I learned to be resourceful. They didn't believe in me, so I learned to believe in myself." Your story isn't over. You are the author, and you get to choose what happens next. Don't let the chapter titled Excuses be the final one. The excuse audit. Here's an exercise, an excuse audit. Ask yourself, what's something I've always wanted to do but haven't? What excuse do I keep telling myself? Is that excuse true or just familiar? Write them down, say them out loud, challenge them. Then ask, what would I do if I stopped making this excuse? That question alone can unlock a new path. Because the moment you name your excuse, you start to take its power away. Excuses kill momentum. Success doesn't happen in one big leap. It's built step by step, day by day. But every time you make an excuse, you interrupt your momentum. Think of it like a train. Every excuse is a break. Every small step forward is steam. Which one are you choosing more often? Excuses feel easier, yes, but ease is not the goal. Growth is, freedom is, fulfillment is. And those come only when you choose movement over stagnation. A real-life reflection. Let's look at a man named Carlos. Carlos wanted to start a small online business selling handmade candles. For years, he kept saying, "I don't have the time. I'm not good at marketing. Other people are already doing it." Until one day, he realized he had time to scroll Instagram, time to binge watch shows, time to complain, but not time to try. He set a new rule: no excuses for 90 days. He started making candles after work, posted them online, made his first sale, then another, then a wholesale order. Today, he has a full-time business. What changed? He stopped giving excuses room to speak. He started giving action a voice. Replace excuses with reasons to try. Excuses are automatic. Trying isn't. But what if, instead of saying "I can't," you asked, "What if I could?" It's too late, you asked, "What can I still do today?" Train your mind to catch excuses in the act and replace them. Instead of saying, "I'm too tired," try, "I'm tired, but I can take one small step." Instead of "no one supports me," try, "How can I support myself better today?" This shift in language changes your actions, and changed actions lead to changed lives. Challenge for Chapter 6. Here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, catch every excuse you make. Write it down. And for each one, write one small thing you could do instead. Small doesn't mean insignificant. It means doable. Because over time, small actions beat big excuses. Every time. Final thoughts. Excuses are seductive. They make you feel better in the moment, but they steal your future in silence. You weren't made to settle. You weren't made to hide behind "maybe later," "what if," or "I can't." You were made to try, to build, to become. Drop the excuses. Pick up your courage. Your potential is waiting on the other side of your excuses. And today, that's the day you start climbing over them. Chapter 7, The Courage to Change. Change sounds inspiring, motivational, uplifting. But living through change? That's another story. Because real change isn't always pretty. It's messy, uncomfortable, sometimes painful. It asks you to let go of what's familiar, even if it's what's been hurting you. But without change, there's no growth. Without courage, there's no change. Change begins with a choice. Every big transformation begins the same way, with a choice. It doesn't start with a perfect plan, or a lucky break, or a big moment on a stage. It starts in the quiet. When you say to yourself, "I don't want to live like this anymore. I know there's more for me. I may not know how, but I'm ready to try." That's it. That moment, that's the beginning. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to choose to start. The fear that follows. The moment you decide to change, fear will follow. It always does. Because fear doesn't want you to change. Fear wants you to stay the same. It says things like, "What if you fail? What will people say? You've never done this before. You're not ready." But here's the truth about fear. It's loudest when you're about to do something important. So if you're scared, take it as a sign. You're headed in the right direction. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to move through fear. Letting go to grow. Change means letting go, and that's hard. You might have to let go of old habits that no longer serve you, people who don't believe in you, environments that keep you stuck, versions of yourself that no longer fit. It's not easy to say goodbye to comfort, but nothing grows in a comfort zone. Think of a seed. It breaks through the ground in darkness. It pushes against the dirt. It stretches toward light. It doesn't stay buried, and neither should you. The pain of staying the same. Sometimes staying the same feels safer. But ask yourself, what has playing small cost you? What have you missed out on while waiting? Who could you be if you stopped holding yourself back? There's a quote that says, "Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong." Read that again. Staying the same might hurt less today, but it hurts more forever. Embracing discomfort. Here's something no one tells you enough. Discomfort is a good sign. It means you're in motion. It means you're breaking patterns. It means you're waking up. Change is like stretching a muscle you haven't used in years. It's sore, it shakes, it might even cramp up. But you keep stretching, Because discomfort isn't danger, it's development. Learn to welcome it. Action builds confidence. Waiting to feel confident before you change is a trap. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. You take one step forward, you survive. You take another each time. You prove to yourself, I can handle this. You start to believe in your ability to adapt, not because someone told you, but because you've lived it. That's real confidence, and it's only built through doing. The myth of the right time. Let's be honest, there's no perfect moment to change. Life will always be busy. You'll never feel 100% ready. There will always be something in the way. But what if now is as good as it gets? Not because everything is in place, but because you're in the place to decide. Every moment you wait is a moment you give away. So don't wait for perfect. Start with honest. Start with what you have. A story of courage. Let me tell you about Julia. Julia was stuck in a job she hated. It paid the bills, but it drained her. For years, she told herself, it's too late to change. I don't know anything else. This is just how life works. Until one day she snapped. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, clear way. She realized she was miserable and no one was coming to fix it for her. So she started small. She took one class at night, then two, built a side business, took risks. Was it hard? Absolutely. Was she scared? Every step, but she kept going. And today, she runs her own company. She works fewer hours. She wakes up excited, not because life got easier, but because she got braver. How to practice courage daily. Courage isn't just about big leaps. It's about small, daily choices. Here are ways to practice courage every day. Say no when you mean no. Say yes to something new. Speak up for yourself. Show up even when you feel insecure. Admit when you're wrong. Ask for help. Try again. Every one of these is a muscle. The more you use them, the stronger you get. Challenge for Chapter 7. Here's your challenge. Write down one area of your life where you know change is needed. Be honest. Now list. One belief that's been holding you back. One excuse you've made. One small action you can take this week. Then do it. Don't wait to feel ready. Just be willing. Because courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, try again tomorrow. Final thoughts. Change isn't easy, but neither is staying stuck. The difference? One leads somewhere new, the other leads nowhere. Courage isn't about having no fear. It's about walking with fear in your pocket and choosing to keep going. You don't need all the answers. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't even need to feel strong every day. You just need to take one step, then another. You are not trapped. You are not broken. You are not finished. You are becoming. And becoming takes courage. Chapter 8. Your work speaks louder than excuses. Talk is easy, excuses come fast. But in the end, it's your work that shows who you really are. Not your intentions, not your dreams, not your complaints, not your promises. Your results tell the truth. If you want to stop blaming others and build the life you keep imagining, then it's time to let your work do the talking. Stop explaining, start executing. How much time have you spent explaining why something didn't happen? You say, I meant to start. I was waiting for the right time. They didn't support me. It wasn't fair. The world doesn't reward effort you intended. It rewards effort you showed. Success doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to execution. Want respect? Deliver results. The world owes you nothing. Here's a hard truth. No one owes you a thing, not success, not understanding, not opportunities. Waiting for the world to feel sorry for you will keep you stuck. Working, even when no one claps, moves you forward. If you don't show up, your dreams won't either. If you don't build it, it won't exist. You're not entitled to results. You earn them. Talent is common, work ethic is rare. You've heard people say, they're just lucky, or they're naturally gifted. But talent without hard work is wasted. Ideas without action are nothing. Potential means very little if you don't push yourself. You don't need to be the smartest, or the most talented, or the most experienced. You just need to be the most consistent. Outwork the excuses. Outlast the distractions. Keep going when others quit, and that's when you'll stand out. The truth about overnight success. There's no such thing. What people call overnight is usually years in the making. Long hours, early mornings, late nights, quiet sacrifices. You just didn't see it. You saw the headline, not the hard days. You saw the win, not the work. Stop chasing quick success. Start building deep success. It's not about speed. It's about showing up day after day, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. That's what builds something real. Keep working even when it feels small. Sometimes your progress won't feel exciting. You'll take a step but feel like nothing's changing. You'll make a move, but the results won't show up right away. That's normal. The beginning of growth is invisible. The work you do today might not pay off this week or this month, but keep going because each small action builds momentum. Each quiet effort strengthens your foundation. Each ordinary day stacks into something extraordinary. Replace complaining with producing. Ask yourself, when you don't like your situation, what do? You complain or do you create? You can't build success with a bitter heart and a lazy hand. Complaining never changed a life. Producing does. Instead of talking about how unfair the system is, learn how to play the game smarter. Instead of criticizing others for winning, ask yourself what they're doing differently. Turn every complaint into a task, every frustration into fuel. Discipline, the bridge between you and your goals. You won't always feel motivated. There will be days when you're tired, uninspired, frustrated. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is doing the work even when the mood is gone. It's honoring your commitment even when you don't feel like it. Want results? Then stop chasing the feeling and follow your plan. Discipline builds character, and character builds legacy. It's not about being busy, it's about being effective. Working all day doesn't mean you're getting anything done. It's not about staying busy, it's about producing real results. Ask yourself, are my actions moving me forward? Is my time going into things that matter? Am I creating outcomes or just avoiding discomfort? Don't confuse movement with progress. A hamster runs hard, but it never leaves the wheel. Be intentional, be clear, be focused. Real success is built in the dark. The best work happens when no one is watching. It happens early in the morning, late at night, on weekends, in silence. The grind isn't glamorous, but it's real. While others are resting, you're building. While others are distracted, you're locked in. While others are talking, you're doing. And when the spotlight comes, you'll be ready. Because you put in the work when it was hard, when it was lonely, when it felt slow. That's what makes success stick. A story of work over words. There was a young man named Sean. He dreamed of being a writer. He told everyone, I'm working on a book, but years passed and still, no book. He blamed his schedule, his stress, his job, the market. One day someone asked, how many words did you write this week? Silence. That was his wake-up call. Sean stopped talking and started typing. He wrote 500 words a day, then 1,000, then more. He stopped waiting for the right time and made time. 6 months later, his book was finished. Not because he found the perfect moment, but because he finally worked. Challenge for Chapter 8. Here's your challenge. Pick one goal you've been talking about. Write down the next physical action you need to take. Do it before the day ends. No more waiting, no more excuses, just work. Then, tomorrow, do it again. Because your life doesn't change when you talk, it changes when you act. Final thoughts, your excuses don't matter. Your effort does. Stop blaming others for what you haven't built. Start building. Let your progress speak. Let your discipline shine. Let your results roar. You don't need more motivation. You need movement. Put in the work quietly, consistently, confidently, because when you show up for your goals every day, eventually they show up for you. Chapter 9, you are the hero you've been waiting for. Every story has a hero, not a perfect person, not someone born lucky, but someone who rises, someone who faces hard things, someone who stops blaming, someone who chooses to fight for a better life. And in your story, that hero is you. The turning point. Maybe your past wasn't easy. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe things haven't gone as planned. But none of that has to define your future. The real turning point isn't when the pain stops. It's when you stop giving up. It's when you look at your life and say, this is mine now. I'm responsible. I'm ready. That's the moment the story changes. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. Your power was never missing. You've had power this whole time. You just didn't believe it. You gave it away to blame, to fear, to other people's opinions. but not anymore. You are not weak. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are in the process of rising. And rising doesn't always look graceful. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's silent, but it's real. And it's yours. The hero takes action. Heroes don't just dream. They do. They don't wait for rescue. They build. They struggle. They rise. Even when they're tired. Even when it's hard. Even when no one cheers. The hero wakes up and moves forward. One step at a time, one choice at a time. You don't need to know every answer. You just need to take the next step. And then the next. And the next. From victim to victor. It's easy to feel like a victim in life, like the world is against you, like nothing ever goes your way, like everyone else got a head start. But the hero mindset is different. The hero says, this might not be my fault, but it is my fight. I may have been knocked down, but I'm not staying down. I get to choose what I do next. The hero doesn't look back with anger. The hero looks forward with purpose. Courage isn't loud, it's consistent. Courage doesn't mean you're never scared. It means you show up even when you're scared. It means writing the first page of the book, starting the business with no guarantees, going back to school, apologizing when you're wrong, saying no when something's not right for you. Real courage happens in the little moments when no one is watching. It happens when you keep going, even when no one claps. That's the kind of courage heroes have, and it's already inside you. Write your own ending. You've lived through hard chapters, but that's not the end of your story. The hero doesn't stop at the pain. The hero builds from it. You get to decide how your story ends. Will it be one of regret or one of redemption? You can rewrite the narrative from excuse to action, from blame to ownership, from waiting to working. This is your book now. Your name is on the cover. You get to choose the ending. Start writing. The legacy you leave. Every day you're building your legacy, not just with big wins, but with small choices. Did you show up? Did you keep your word? Did you grow, even when it was hard? People are watching, some silently, some closely. Your kids, your friends, your team, your community. They don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real, to be brave, to show them it's possible to fall and still rise. You don't just change your life when you stop blaming and start working. You change others' lives too. That's what heroes do. A final challenge. Right now, close your eyes and ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of example do I want to be? Now ask, what's one thing I can do today to start living that story? Then do it. Not tomorrow, not next year, today. Because heroes don't just plan, they move. Final thoughts. This is your story. This is your moment. This is your life. Stop blaming, start working, start becoming. You don't need a savior. You need to see what's already in you. Grit, purpose, courage, fire. You are the hero you've been waiting for, and the world is waiting on you.